This is Stacy Marshall with Printwear Magazine.
Matt Vassallo with the rhinestoneworld.com.
Richard Greaves with screenmaking.com.
Brian Walker with RTP Apparel.
You are listening to the Two Regular Guys
Podcast.
Hosted by
Terry Combs.
Terry Combs.
Terry Combs.
And
Aaron Montgomery.
Aaron Montgomery.
Aaron Montgomery.
Keep on listening.
I don't know if these guys are that regular.
All right, there we go. Welcome in. I don't know what to do with my hands here. Sorry. This is Friday, October 25th. I'm Aaron Montgomery, and you can find me over at aaronmontgomery.info. Terry is actually out at Printing United, PU, as I've heard some people call it. They're in Dallas today, so we'll look to get a report from him on how that show went. As you can tell, I'm in a hotel room here on my Disney vacation. In fact, I was going to wear my Stormtrooper helmet, but it's sized for my kid's head, so we're not wearing that today. But shortly, we're going to be talking to Kayla Gayton, and she's going to be joining me in just a few minutes. We're going to talk about marketing. We're going to geek out on marketing. I'm pretty super excited to talk about this stuff here today. And Cindy, hello. Thank you for joining us here today. I appreciate you tuning in. In fact, I just read that you just talked to Terry, and you're going to watch the presentation from Terry's booth. So tell Terry to get to work. That would be ideal there. Yeah. Get to work, Terry. Sell something. How's things going there in Printing United? So like I said, we'll get a full report from him next week. And I've got some other folks checking in here already this morning. Rich, thank you for joining us and really appreciate that. And see what other things we got going on here. Todd, good morning. Thank you for joining us and appreciate you tuning in. Like I said, this is a little bit weird. Eric is in the background right now handling all of the board, so to speak, making everything work and making everything happen for us. So really appreciate Eric taking over for me since, like I said, I'm sitting here in a hotel room right now. And so it's a little bit easier to just be the host today. And like I said, I don't know what to do with my hands. All right. So who else is checking in? Marshall checking in. I don't think I have my dirty underwear on the floor as far as I can tell. So thank you, Marshall. I appreciate that. You see the look of scariness coming over my face here now. Obviously having wife and kids and everything running around here today. We've been having a blast already here in Florida. So I'll update at a later time on that, but let's talk a couple of Batman comes through again as usual. Eric is the one that the glue that keeps this all together and makes this happen. So thank you very much, Eric, for all of your help, and we're looking forward to chatting with Kayla here in just a little bit. But let me hit a couple of news items here, and let's see here, get the notes. So the one news item that came across, and I think we briefly mentioned this last week, but I wanted to kind of put it out there. Cafe Press is facing some potential lawsuits for its data breach handling. Custom apparel and merchandise company Cafe Press finds itself at the center of a potential class action lawsuit. And the proposed suit comes as a response to the fallout from a massive data breach that occurred earlier this year. So in fact, Eric's got the links to both of those articles in A&E magazine there that you can check out in the comments there at facebook.com/2regularguys. And then the other news item, and this is more of a self-promotion, but news item nonetheless, that we found in Printwear magazine, that our press release about nominations are open for the garment decorating industry's 7th annual Reggie Awards. And they are open which recognize excellence and progression in the garment decorating industry. The Two Regular Guys, that's us. I'm one of the Two Regular Guys. Accepts entries until November 14th at 5 p.m. Central Times. And the winners are all decided by you, the community. We've already had over 100 nominations, and we're just in our first week of nominations. So keep those nominations flowing in, and the top 5 from each category will be the ones that are going to be voted on after November 15th there. So the 10 categories, and we did update that after our conversation last week with you guys, the regulators, but our 10 categories this year are best new product, longstanding category there. Second category is best sales or customer service representative. The number 3, the company that provides the best customer service. Number 4, best online educational content. Number 5, best industry educator. And number 6, best industry trade show. Number 7, which was one that we kind of came up with the regulators last week, best Facebook or LinkedIn community/group. Number 8, most influential young star. That's in our world, since Terry and I are both veterans, our world young star is under 40. All right, so that's the under 40 crowd there, most influential young star. And in fact, we're going to be talking to one of those potential young stars here. So already seen some nominations coming in there. Number 9, best guest on the Two Regular Guys podcast. And number 10, the best industry ambassador. Best ambassador for the industry. So looking forward to seeing all the nominations and getting those posted. Again, all our job is we are the ones that bring it to you. We have one vote just like you guys do. Eric, Terry, myself, we don't get to pick or choose anything. We just kind of go with what you guys, the community, the regulators tell us. So we're excited about this every year, and we're excited to kick off the 2019 version here. So let's see here. Got some, Aaron, you are one dedicated man. Thanks for keeping this up. Absolutely. Hey, again, Eric's in helping out. Terry's being Terry. He's just the talent. I'm just kidding. Terry's an integral part of this. But yeah, the wife and kid are over at the pool this morning. And so, hey, talk to you guys for an hour. This will be cool. And I was super stoked to talk to Kayla. This is a topic that I love geeking out on. And marketing is something. So, if we just talk all afternoon or all morning, I guess it's 11 o'clock here in Florida. So anyhow, all right, guys, let's get to this. Before we dive in, though, I want to thank you for checking out the Two Regular Guys podcast. If you're listening to the podcast version, we would really appreciate it.
This is Stacy Marshall with Printwear Magazine.
There we go.
Matt Vassallo with the Rhine.
Hey, Eric, we can kind of hear that. There we go. We're good. He's just getting to the next one there. So thank you, Eric, for keeping us moving here. All right. If you would share with your friends so they can become regulators too. Plus, if you'll give us a review on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, or wherever you listen to the podcast, we would really appreciate it. We're also looking for new guests on the show. So if you or anyone would like to be on the show, just send them to this link, Calendly, CALENDLY.com/2 regular guys. That's the number 2 regular guys. So Calendly.com/2 regular guys. And you can find a Friday that works for you or the person that you'd suggest. And we'll take it from there. So if you are joining us on the live feed via Facebook, we'd love the interaction. We want to hear your comments and questions. Be part of this marketing discussion with Kayla and I, and give us a shout out and let us know that you're tuned in. Like I said, we've already had lots of folks checking in, and we are excited about it. So before we do that, though, Eric, if we can do this here, let's see what happens. But let's hear a word from our sponsor, Impressions Expo.
What is Impressions Expo? Impressions Expo, formerly ISS, is the premier trade show dedicated to the imprinted and decorated apparel industry. 5 shows are produced annually in each region of the U.S., including Long Beach, California, Atlantic City, New Jersey, Orlando, Florida, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and Fort Worth, Texas. Each of the 5 annual shows also features over 30 seminars and hands-on workshops in categories such as screen printing, embroidery, digitizing, digital decorating, and much more. Visit ImpressionsExpo.com for more details and see us at the shows in 2020. Exclusively for Two Regular Guys listeners, the regulators, use the promo code Regular Guys IE. Again, that is Regular Guys IE for a free Expo pass.
All right. Very cool. Definitely make sure you use that promo code and just tell them the Two Regular Guys sent you. we really appreciate the support from Impressions, and we will see you guys in Long Beach. That's the next one coming up, and so good stuff there. Michelle says she's running the embroidery machines today. Thank you, Eric. Good morning, running embroidery machines today, so we'll have to watch the replay. Well, yeah, get to work and get that stuff done, and excited to, we'd love to see what project you're working on there, so definitely share that with us. All right, well, let's do this. Eric, if you could bring in our guest there, we will get started. I've got with me here Kayla Gayton, who's the marketing director for Atlas Screen Supply in Chicago, Illinois. She's creative and self-driven individual with a passion for branding, user experience, and effectively communicating ideas through design. If she's not in class pursuing her degree in user experience, you can find her camping or hiking near some waterfalls. So welcome into the program again, Kayla.
Hey, Aaron, how's it going?
I'm doing great. How are you doing today?
I am Christine. Hey, Christine.
Yay, Kayla.
I'm good. I'm excited about this topic. I think it's something that people aren't really familiar with as much, or they have a misconception on it. So
yeah, definitely. And that's what we want to dispel, are those misconceptions. And, you and I have had some fantastic conversations kind of post-show, maybe over an adult beverage. So that's why I was so excited to have you on the show. I know you've been with Christine on the program there, and we're like, gosh, we got to get Kayla on to talk about a topic like this. So where did this idea for this particular show come from?
Right. So there was a statement that Donald Miller recently made, and he's the author of the book Building a Story Brand. So
Okay.
Are you familiar with that book?
I haven't read it yet, but I have seen it. It's on my to-read list.
Very, very, very popular in marketing and branding. A lot of people have read it. But he made a statement that companies should not even consider branding until they're at least a $500 million company.
Okay.
Which, is it kind of irks you a little bit when you listen to what he says. I think we've got that video. If you want to play it.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's Eric, if we can get that queued up, go for it.
Hey everybody, welcome to Business Made Simple. It is your daily business tip designed to either make you money, save you money, keep you from frustration, something that advances your professional career forward. Today I want to talk about something that is actually costing you a lot of money, and that is the confusion between marketing and branding. We have a marketing company called Story Brand, but really we help people do branding, but we help people mostly do marketing. I think marketing is more important than branding. I was helping a giant company, about a $400 million company recently, but they were in decline. That company was going down, and they brought me in to help them out. I'm around the room with all their executives. We're around a big table, and we're talking through their strategy. And I mean, everything that they were talking about was branding. And I actually think they have a great brand. They don't need any work on their branding. They need to do marketing. Branding is when you make somebody feel a certain way about your brand. It is important. Branding, though, is a luxury. I think you need to be making about $500 million before you even start thinking a whole lot about branding. I mean, get your colors right, your logo and that sort of stuff. But branding, people have to be familiar with your brand in order to be trained to feel a certain way about your brand. Until then, you need to do marketing, because marketing is really where you make your money. Marketing is when you tell somebody to buy your product and you explain why they should buy your product. Branding is making them feel a certain way. It's music, it's colors, it's mood boards, it's all that kind of stuff. Marketing is how do we explain what we offer in such a way people want to buy it. This same company spent the day with them. I leave just 2 or 3 days later, I read an article in Business Insider. It broke my heart. And it said, this is one of the next 17 companies we predict to go down, to go bankrupt. And, I placed a call to the person I needed to place a call to. And I said, I didn't want to say it in the room because I didn't want to be mean. You guys need to do marketing. You need to stop thinking about branding. You got a great brand. You need to think about marketing. You need to email your customers, segment your audience, email your customers every single day. Feature one of your products and tell them why they might need it. Stop thinking about moods, colors, music, the why of your brand, all this stuff that is basically you just wasting time. we got to sell something here. This is about making money. And so you got to email your customers every day. And that will bring the company back. You will not go under because you got fantastic products. You're just not telling anybody about them and explaining why they should buy them. Understand the difference between branding and marketing. They both make you money, but marketing is that rocket ship that gets you out of the atmosphere, and then it falls away and the capsule goes up, and that's branding. People want to do branding. You try to get a capsule out of the atmosphere without a rocket. It's not going to work. Marketing is the rocket that gets you there, and you cut that marketing out, and you get a bunch of people who really want to make people feel a certain way and listen to music and all that kind of stuff, and that capsule is going to go right back to the earth. Here's the tip. Spend 80% of your time on marketing and 20% on branding. Unless that's only after you have $250,000 or more. Until then, 100% on marketing. Market until you have the money to do branding. If your company is falling apart, it's probably because you're doing too much branding and too little marketing. 80% at least on marketing, 20% on branding. That's today's simple tip.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, very interesting. In fact, we've got comments in there that, disagreement. So yeah, tell us, what your take was once you kind of heard that, how did that kind of make you feel?
Right. So as someone who's passionate about both marketing and branding, they both play their own role. But I think that to jump right into saying branding is just music and colors, and that's the misconception about what branding actually is. And I think that people tend to focus too much on the visual elements of what creates a brand, the logo, the colors, that kind of thing, instead of understanding at the core what a brand is, which is why you do what you do. What Marshall said is your customers are saying about you, to communicate that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally makes sense. Yeah, for sure. I agree with you 100%. As you heard that, and I'm not sure if I'm breaking up, if it's my side or what's happening here. So, Eric, I'm not sure what you're seeing there on your side. Kayla, you're back. Okay.
I'm good.
Okay. Well, we're okay. We're all good. Yeah.
All right.
I'm catching
Sorry.
you right now loud and clear, so that the others will catch up on it. Yeah, that's all right. This is what happens on the internet, right? Excuse me. So, all right. So I think we're all kind of in agreement here on our side. I think we're all kind of in agreement on our side here that, I think he might have missed the mark, at least what we're feeling about branding. And so, but I think the key point here is that it is a bit of a fuzzy term. So tell us what branding actually means to people in their everyday business.
So understanding your branding is understanding who you are as a company, and also understanding who your customers are, so that you can send them a message in the right way. So by understanding what your brand is, who you are, what your values are, that determines how you communicate that to the right people. So that's kind of, again, at its simplest form, it is your company identity. Again, agreeing with Marshall, where it is also your reputation and what people say about you, but you can't always influence that. You want to do your best to try to, I guess I should say you can influence it, but you can't control it, if that makes sense. So
no, it totally makes sense.
And that's where I would say that it's important to focus on your branding, because you want to understand what you want to say. You have to differentiate yourself in some way, because that's what your brand is differentiating yourself. That's its purpose.
Yeah. And I almost kind of consider branding as like your company's personality.
Exactly.
I can try to portray something that I might not be, and it's what other people perceive me as, but that's my brand. And then same thing with your company. So if you think that your company brand is X, but you're doing Y, and all of your customers think that it's Y, and to me, that's kind of what differentiates branding and marketing is like I said, that outside looking in, but you can also affect and change that and motivate people to
Exactly.
think a certain way by taking certain actions. So,
well, and that's why it's really important to be really authentic about your brand when you're creating it and you're in the early stages of developing it, because you're going to end up over promising and under delivering, and that's going to leave that bad taste in the customer's mouth, and you're going to end up in a bad spot.
Totally. No, I mean, I agree with that 100%. If you can flip that and under promise and over deliver, then you're going to be in a better spot. But I think what happens is most of us want to tell the customer what they want to hear. And, so for me, changing that and being able to say, okay, let's say I was printing something. Okay, this is going to be done in 6 days. Let's just say I know I can probably get it out in 3 or 4, but I can't guarantee that I'm going to get it out in 3 or 4. So I'm going to tell the customer 6 days. And then when it takes me 3 days to get it out, they're going to be happy. And again, to me, that's just how you set up your branding, your identity. So, give us some other examples of that. If you have anything else that you can kind of expand on as far as what branding is.
Again, it's hard to define because there's so many different elements. And I think that's why there's so many definitions of it out there. Each person kind of has their own opinion about what that really means. But I think to small to medium-sized business owners, it's understanding your purpose, your position, what you want to portray to your audience, and how to do that in the best way.
Okay. All right. So kind of like you said, it sounds perfect. You're explaining this. I'm getting it. That's good. When I get it, that's a big thing. Anyways, so within that, you mentioned your purpose. So, can you maybe talk a little bit about, the why and kind of being authentic?
Yeah. Like why you want to be authentic?
Yeah. Why you're authentic, but where does, from a brand perspective, is it just what you want? Is it just what you think your customers want to hear, or how does that kind of?
No, that's the worst thing you can do is by building what your brand is around marketing buzzwords or what you think is going to sell, and not recognizing what your true strengths are as a company. That's what your brand is your strengths, what you do well, and how can you use that to explain to your customers that you're valuable.
Okay. So we need to, like I said, focus on our strengths, so I guess, somebody that's always just looking at what their competition's doing and like I said, the latest marketing buzzword and all that other stuff, they're really going to struggle with this then.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, so I guess, do you find that most people are overthinking branding? And if they are, then why do you think that is?
I think, again, it comes down to the fact that I think a lot of people focus on the visual part of the brand first. They're focusing on, what font do I want to use? What colors represent me? They start, Googling branding and finding 40 different templates of how to do that and how to build something out. And they get overwhelmed. They get tripped up because they're not focusing on who they are. They're trying to create an image around what they want to be or who they think they could be.
Okay. All right. So within that, then how does design play into that piece?
Right. So people who do understand design that are working on a brand will get overwhelmed. So if you're a business owner, you're comfortable with design, you understand color theory and all these other things. When you're trying to build it yourself, you get overwhelmed by the options that are out there. How do I accurately portray to my audience who I am? When you're passionate about your business, it's really hard to find that right combination that reflects what you want to say. Nothing usually seems right. It's usually really frustrating. You go through multiple, versions of what you want to present to people. And even if you like it today, you might not like it tomorrow. So it's ideal if you can bring other people in, maybe even talk to your customers about it and say, hey, what do you think about this? Or, so for people who understand design, the amount of options and combinations and things that are out there can be very, very overwhelming. For people who don't understand design, they're wondering, where do you even start? It's not their element. There's a lot of people who get into screen printing, let's say, that, they start printing and they're like, oh, I didn't realize I have to be a graphic designer too, because they've got to deal with the color separations and the design part of it. So people who are really good at running a business may not be great at the actual design part of their business. And so it's confusing and overwhelming. If they're considering outsourcing, doing a brand design with another company, they're probably asking, how can I trust this company to build a brand when they don't know who I am? So you feel more comfortable doing it yourself, but now you don't know how. If you do decide to outsource that, I would say that if they aren't asking you those foundational questions and they jump right into the design process, run. Yeah. That is not the company you want to work with, because they're not doing it the right way and actually finding out who you are and what your value is.
Yeah. No, that's in fact, Christine said, I'm having flashbacks to the recent rebrand we did for Enmart. Redesigning the logo was its own special kind of fun. And I'm imagining how she's saying special kind of fun. And so, Kayla, like you said, if you're getting some outside help, that is a little bit of a challenge, because again, the brand is not necessarily what the color is, what the logo is. It's actually who you are as an identity. And those logos and colors and the feel is kind of just more of a way to communicate those things, correct?
Exactly. And that's what it's meant for, is, you don't want to say that you're professional and then have bleeding cowboy on your letterhead. I mean, I would assume nobody here does that, but you know what I mean? You don't want to, say you're professional and then use Comic Sans. You want to use the right pieces to convey that, but it doesn't work the opposite way.
Gotcha.
You can't, all of a sudden create this great, funky, cool design in this brand and then go back and be like, okay, now we're the funky, cool company, and that's, we're trendy and that's what works.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So what ways can we kind of, I don't know, what are some of the ways in your mind as to how we can then convey what our identity is? How do we do that? Are there some things that we kind of have to do all the time?
I guess, you want to stay consistent in the message that you're conveying. Definitely. You want to keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate it with, crazy graphics and big text and all that kind of thing. You want to, remain simple in how you convey your message.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Okay. Well, so what are some ways that people can improve their brand / marketing? We're talking about what the difference is here a little bit, but really, I think we all, again, go back to kind of disagreeing with what Donald says, and not that we're disagreeing with him, but I think from a perspective of the industry that we're in and the types of businesses that we work with, it's more of the problem is the fact that it's fuzzy as to what's what here. So what are some ways that people can kind of build that today?
I would say first is, define your brand, actually figure out those things. A lot of people have an idea of who they are and who their customer is, but they don't really write it out and define it. Okay. So, make a definitive statement and then look at that statement and say, is this clear? Does this make sense for who we are? And again, you have to go back to being authentic. You can't say that, well, we want to be a fast turnaround shop because that's what sells. People want convenience. They want fast. And then you're delivering things late because you don't have the capability to do that. But yet at the same time, you may be delivering a great experience in other ways. You may be able to make an emotional connection by what you provide for people. Yeah. And again, when you're doing that, stay away from marketing buzzwords. Don't be like, we're the innovative company when you're not. That's not what you do, Yeah. Stay away from words.
Yeah. And
teach.
Kayla, I think we're losing you just a hair, so let's let the internet come back up here if you can hear what I'm saying. But all right. So Kayla, sorry, we lost you just a hair there, but I can't quite tell yet. It still looks a little bit frozen. So hang tight and we'll see here. But
okay.
Up kind of. I think you're back. It's just moving slowly there. So the internet's playing tricks on us here today. So the typical two regular guys stuff. So Eric, what are you seeing over there? Maybe on not quite yet. It's still jumping around. Let's see.
It's weird because it's so clear on my end.
That is weird where it's picking up. Okay. So
Okay.
now you're back. Now we're back. Good to go. Okay. So let's see here. Where were we? Let me just get back to what we were talking about here too. So yeah, Christine says being consistent is so important and so tough. I had people be astonished because we have guidelines about colors for our logos and things like that. How your company is represented is important. So you need to be firm on enforcing whatever you decide. So, and then she makes another point. You can't be what you aren't. Very good point, that it's so important to know what you can do and what you care about when you're developing your brand. That's a point I'd like to actually talk a little bit more about, Kayla, is you mentioned that, part of this is focusing on your strengths, so
Yeah.
even though, like you said, you want to be the fast turnaround person, but that's not really how you're set up. That's not who you are as a person. That's not how your business is set up to run best. You like to spend a lot of time with your customers, developing other experiences. So talk to us a little bit about that. How do you find your strengths? Any quick thoughts on that? I know I'm kind of going off track here a little bit, but thought I'd pick your brain on that.
I think Marshall kind of nailed it where he said, ask your customers, why do you do business with us? Ask your customers, because you're too close to it. You have an opinion of yourself that may not be what you're actually showing other people. So talk to other people that are doing business with you and that love your company and ask them why.
Yeah, that's great. That's a great idea to get that feedback. And sometimes that can be a difficult thing for us to do, to kind of, again, we get so close to it that we think that this is something that we are, but at the end of the day, that's maybe not why your customers are showing up. And so if you can't connect there, then you're going to have some problems. So good stuff there. What other ways can we kind of improve our branding and marketing? We talked about kind of building that foundation. I love the fact that you said, get a plan. I'm the plan guy. I love making sure everybody has a business plan, very minimum marketing plan, but business plan. What else can we do though?
Right. So other than defining your brand, figuring out what your unique value is and all of those pieces, after that, I would go then and look at who my ideal customer is, and I would build a buyer persona. So I think it's something that's very underused. But you want to know who your ideal customer is. And a buyer persona is actually putting a name, an age, a gender, what is their job, what is their interest, do they have kids, are they married? You want to build an actual fictitious person that would want to buy whatever it is that you're selling, the person that you would be targeting. Because then when you go back to the actual visual elements of your brand, you could say, okay, well, is this hardcore rocker dude who's 26 going to be into this pink floral design that I did? No, probably not.
You don't think so?
No, I use an extreme example just because it's,
I love it. That's
simple, perfect. But that's what it is. You have to understand who they are, what they're looking for. And it also can help you with, marketing pieces too. If you want to add humor, but you're talking about something that they don't understand, or it goes over their head, it's not from, their time period and what they understand, then it's going to completely miss the mark. So yeah, it makes your marketing message better. It makes your design better. And it helps you kind of clarify those things when they tend to get a little bit fuzzy. And you want to build more than one too. You don't want to just have one customer. For us, we've got, it's like saying, okay, well, I want to sell t-shirts. I'm going to sell t-shirts to everybody because everybody can buy a t-shirt, but that's not true. For us, we sell to screen printers, but there's so many different kinds. There's a guy who's printing in his shop by himself. There's, but he's really experienced. There's another guy who has just started out and he's really confused. He's looking at YouTube videos all day long. You've got someone who's got multiple automatics and he's got to manage 30 employees, and their pain points are different. And those are the things that you have to understand and identify, is what are their pain points and how can I provide value to this specific segment of who I want to target. No,
that's a great way to look at it, and segmenting those things down. And again, the message that I'm going to convey to, like you said, the guy that's got 30 employees and an automatic press is going to be completely different from the poor guy that's watching really bad YouTube videos and ruining half of his shirts, and you guys bring value in different ways to those people. So it's almost like you're doing marketing to just completely separate deals, right? I mean, is that what it kind of boils down to?
Well, exactly, because then your terminology also changes too. I'm not going to use really complex terms with people that don't understand what EOM is or LPI or any of those terms. I'm going to use something that makes sense to them and makes them feel comfortable. Because other than that, they're probably going to get freaked out even more than they already are about starting this.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally know what you mean. And I would appreciate if you didn't use those terms anymore. I'm just went right. Just kidding. All right. So actually, Cindy says, I missed most of the show watching the Equipment Zone presentation. Cindy, if you could just tell Terry to go ahead and shut those presentations down until we're done with the show. We don't want any more distractions. So that would be good. All right. So this is just a kind of a random thought, Kayla, and I'm just curious if I'm the only weird one here, but I've actually done this customer buyer persona kind of thing, and I actually like to actually put a physical name. It's kind of like,
oh yeah,
for me, is naming my kid. Closing your eyes and going, can I envision yelling at my kid this way? And so that's something that I've also done too, because like you said, when you're figuring out the language that you're going to use and the imagery and all that other stuff, if I can say, hey, in this persona, I'm talking to Kayla. In this persona, I'm talking to Eric. And it just, I think it makes it humanize it a little bit. So is that something that you've done?
Oh, definitely. That's, I guess I probably should have said that, but yeah, that's part of it. I want to say, okay, I want this piece to go to Kurt, who's working in his garage shop, and I want to make him feel more comfortable. And again, it's, it's humanizing. It's understanding that Kurt has his own pain points. Maybe he is some guy who's working at a job that he absolutely hates, and he made a rash decision to buy some used equipment from a guy next door. And now he has no idea what he's doing. He's confused. There's YouTube videos up the wazoo with terrible information. And, you have to appeal to what they're experiencing in that moment. And that's how you kind of humanize and you can empathize with them in that way.
Yeah, totally. No, that's great. I agree that's a big part of what kind of branding and marketing is. So I guess, Kayla, the next step then, after we've kind of determined who we're talking to and kind of some of the way, how do we kind of figure out then how, what that message is going to be?
Right. So when you're looking at clarifying your message, you have to look at the value that your company can provide, what their pain points are, and how do I send the clearest message of connecting those two. You want to be able to do that in a very simplistic and easy way. You don't want to use an entire paragraph to explain to someone the value that you add. It can be something that's just a couple sentences. For us, we've got we had this like really long mission statement at one point in time, and it was targeting the small business owners who felt like they were undervalued because they weren't big enough for people to pay attention to them and to give them quality service.
Yeah.
And we completely rewrote that and put it into like 1 or 2 sentences that we can now send in a marketing messages. That's very, very simple.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, I think gives you something to kind of make your decisions based on. If we can simplify that down to something that we can recite, and when we're, interacting with that customer, then we kind of go, okay, does what they're asking us to do fit within this model? And if so, we just say yes without having to worry about what the consequences of saying yes are, kind of thing.
Exactly. Another way too is if you're trying to figure out what works and what people respond to, do some A to B testing, separate people out and rephrase what you say a little bit and send it to different people and see what the response is. So you can always test those things too. I think that's an important part of it too, is that people tend to assume that they know what they're talking about and they know what their audience wants, and they don't actually look at what their audience is doing.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a really good point. And I think I sometimes miss that point because to me, I'm going to say what I'm going to say, and in my brain, it makes total sense, but maybe my target audience doesn't understand that. So like you said, if we do this A/B testing where I send it out the way that I thought it would be received, but then also switch it and change it, so it could be changes. What kinds of changes happen within an A/B testing kind of setup?
It could be just changing one word, you know what I mean? And like just changing that one word may affect how someone feels about what you're saying to them. It could be putting that in big, bold red caps versus, soft italicized blue font, like it's how you convey that message. And it's, once you start doing it, you really see how dramatic it really is. I figured out, and the important thing to remember too, first, before I go on to my next point, is that what you like is not necessarily what your customer likes. So you cannot design around that. So for like email marketing, for example, I hate emails that have the emojis in the subject lines. I never open them. Absolutely hate them. I think they look like spam. And I did a test and it was ridiculous. I mean, it was like 50% more opens on the ones that had the freaking emoji next to it.
That you hate. Yeah. That's
okay.
hilarious.
I'm like, I hate it, but who am I to say if it works,
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's a great point. I mean, we miss that a ton of times, I think, as business owners, that, like you said, you're very passionate about the fact that you don't like that for you personally. And we all have those things that are just like, this is, I'm going down on the ship because of this kind of thing. But once you do that testing that you mentioned there, you can really change your business pretty quickly. So that's a great point to mention. All right. And then Eric's posting emojis, all sorts of fun stuff there. Cindy said, don't be yelling at your child. And Cindy, just to clarify, I'm just yelling at him as encouraging, as like, you're doing a great job, Lewis. Good job. Yeah. Okay. Just trying to make sure that my parenting is not getting beat up here. All right. Well, let's keep going, because I will get us way off the rails here. But what's the biggest? Well, let's see here. No, let me go back a little bit. If you only had one marketing tactic to choose, what and how can people implement that? Like today.
I would say, again, go back to the buyer personas. I think it is very, very underused. I mean, I really didn't understand it until like it's easy to assume that who your customer is and what they want. But when you really start dialing it out and looking at what their pain points are, that's when you start finding these other little ways to be creative about your marketing and about your messaging. An example, again, that I did with email marketing is I realized that with Terry's class, when I was marketing it, I was just sending, what they're going to learn and, this really long description. And the classes were still doing really well, but I realized that the people who want to take the class are the people who are watching YouTube videos all day long. They don't understand what they're doing. They don't know who they can trust. And I built an email marketing message around that, saying, how reliable are those keyboard enthusiasts that you're getting advice from? Yeah. You deserve trusted, vetted advice for your business.
For sure. And everybody loves Uncle Terry, so.
So, these are people who are like, okay, maybe I shouldn't be trusting everyone that's putting a video on YouTube. There's someone that I can actually go to that's been doing this for a while. This isn't going to be a product pitch. And the response that advertisement got was much better than anything else I had ever put out, because I appealed to that pain point, because I really thought about who they are. It's not just that they want education. It's that, again, I hit on the whole YouTube part of it and the advice that your business deserves. And that's, I think, really what pushed that to the next level.
Yeah, definitely. And I think even Todd had a comment earlier that even though they aren't $1 million business, those micro businesses still need to be told that they are a business, and you have to do those things, and you deserve to get the right kind of training for that kind of stuff too. I love that. So build your buyer's persona. Those of you that are listening in live, I'd love to hear from you. Who's got a buyer's persona that's in writing? So if you have one, just give us a yes, or maybe tell us a little bit about it. That's totally fine. But Kayla, while they're getting that together here for us, what do you think the biggest mistake you see screen printers or other decorators make when it comes to their marketing?
I think that too many people focus on quality, meaning they emphasize it in, all of their marketing pieces. It's on their business card. It's on their website. It's on their social media. It's the big banner cover photo. We have quality. We are quality. Yeah. And that's great. But it's kind of like saying we've got great customer service. When someone's coming to you for something and trusting you, you you know, they kind of expect it to be quality and to have a good experience. Nobody's marketing themselves and saying, I have terrible quality. You know what I'm saying?
It's like a grocery store saying, we've got sliced bread.
So it's okay to state that you have quality work, and I think even better, instead of saying it, you should show it through testimonials of people doing business with you. So and you know, examples of your work so that people can see it. But it's better to show that than to repeatedly say it on everything that you have.
Gotcha. Okay.
And
what else?
Yeah, I would say other than that, it's using terminology in their marketing that their customer doesn't understand. I see a lot of posts of, you know, we just got this new great, you know, discharge ink in, and it's the best quality, and, you know, all of that. And it's like, that's great, but your customer might not know what discharge ink actually is. You're better off saying, I can create a soft, stylish look on a super soft, comfortable t-shirt that everyone's going to want to wear. You know what I mean? Like, you have to use things that translate to them. Another example is like, you remember those shirts a while back? They were like the gray shirts where when they got wet, it would say like, you can go home now, or the text would appear. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
So that trend made like a huge comeback for some reason. And I got like 8 calls in a week for that ink. And they're like, oh, what's that ink that does that? You know, and nobody's going to be marketing that shirt when you actually go to a website and you see like, you know, created with, you know, whatever special effect ink. That's not how it works. They're just trying to buy a product that looks cool. So the easier and the more simple you can be about explaining that to your customer, I think the more effective you can be about it.
Yeah. Perfect. In fact, Marshall follows that up by saying, Kayla is right on here. You shouldn't talk about the big 3: price, quality, or customer service. However, 100% okay for your customers to do that with testimonials. So like you said, you know, bring those messages to your customers, but let them tell that story for you. I think that's perfect advice. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Kayla. This has been great. We're kind of running towards the end here, so I want to also real quick talk about, you know, what's new and good at Atlas Screen Supply these days. What's happening over there?
Oh, I'm excited. Okay, so we just got a new artwork class. So we've been having people ask us over and over again to have something related to artwork, because everything that's out there isn't. I would say most things that are out there are not geared for printers. It's how to use the program for design and these other purposes when we're trying to use it for a very specific purpose. So we have a class called Corel Draw for screen printers. Nice. And it teaches people how to recreate the customer art, what you can do, how to build things very simply, very simple color separations, adding registration marks, labeling your film, essentially going from low quality JPEG to a point where you can actually export that onto film. And then what's kind of cool about the class too is I have people where they're going to be working with the same artwork that Terry prints the following day on Saturday. So that way it's kind of a segue where they start with, you know, getting the crappy artwork, building, separating, getting your film, and then the next morning, if they want to go to Terry's class, it would start with degreasing, and then you go through the actual printing process from start to finish. Wow. And then these classes are going to be taught by Clay. So he actually has the website Corel Trainer. This is what he does. You know, and so we want to bring someone in who's specialized in these topics. Yeah, for sure. And yeah, we've talked with Clay, and in fact, we hung out with him in Fort Worth in the Educators Lounge there. So Clay brings a very unique and like you said, focused energy on Corel training. He doesn't sell a product. He all he does is sell training on Corel. So you've got the guy right there to be teaching that kind of topic. And then, like you said, I love that you guys are transitioning that into, I mean, you know, a new screen printer can basically see how to operate their shop from start to finish there with that kind of a setup, it sounds like. Well, exactly. And like, it's, you know, there is no class that is one day that will teach you everything under the sun. Artwork, just like with printing, you know, you can go to a class and it'll kind of kickstart you to a really good point. You're going to network with people. You're going to make, you know, friends with a lot of people who can be used as a resource. but it's not an all-in-one, all of a sudden you're an expert printer after one weekend. We try to make the learning process of it as streamlined as possible for people, to take the confusion out of it. And again, design programs, there's, out of 100% of the program, maybe 10 to 20% of it is what you actually need to accomplish the job and get it done. And that's what we want to teach people, is that 20% to get them started and be able to actually get the presses moving.
Nice. Cool. Well, that's great. You get, like I said, get some kick started. And then, I know you guys there at Atlas are all about educating and helping your customers be successful. So, I would imagine once they go there, they've got access to you guys, and that's a pretty good resource right there.
That's something that we are big on, is we're trying to look at other ways we can kind of expand the education as well. So if anyone has any ideas or things that they want to see, let me know.
Cool. Well, how do they contact you to let you know about that?
You can contact me through my email, Kayla@atlasgreensupply.com. Awesome.
All right, Kayla, anything that we missed today at all before I let you get back to work there?
I don't think so. I think we're good.
Okay. What a great amount of information there. And I think you could just take a couple little nuggets that you had in there and make, worth the price of admission for everybody here. So,
I think, the biggest thing to understand is just understanding who you are. Don't get hyper focused on, the visual elements of what a brand is. You've got to focus on who you are before you can visually say that.
Nice. Cool. Well, Kayla, thank you so much. You have a great day, and we will talk to you again soon.
All right. Thanks for having me on. Bye, guys.
All righty. Bye. Wow, guys, that was fantastic. Great information. And again, I just get so geeked up about marketing, and I get the advantage of seeing the outline. Marshall says, great show today. I totally agree. High five, Marshall. And appreciate everybody joining us here in the comments and bringing all the stuff. We tried to get to some of them, but didn't want to take away from anything that Kayla had going on there. So we didn't get to everyone. So if you are listening to the podcast version, make sure you get over to facebook.com/2regularguys. That's the number 2 regular guys. And that way you can participate in the comments too. These are replayed forever. So you guys can go back, replay, watch, and still comment. We'll get those things, and we'll tag Kayla if we need to, or whatever happens there. So great stuff. All right, well, let's take a quick break here, and then we'll come back and wrap up the show. So Eric, if you're ready, whenever you're ready, let's hear a word from our sponsor, Ace Transfer Company.
Have you been looking to grow your business or start one in the garment decoration industry? After all, that's why you're listening, right? Ace Transfer Company is located in Springfield, Ohio, and we've provided our customers with high-quality transfers, competitive prices, and great customer service for nearly 30 years. Ace Transfer Company offers a wide variety of garment decoration services, including screen-printed transfers, contract screen printing, direct-to-garment or DTG, dye sublimation, signs, banners, heat transfer vinyl, pressure-sensitive vinyl, and more. Use your own designs or have our in-house artists assist you in creating eye-catching transfers. At Ace, we are dedicated to helping your business succeed, so print your vision at Ace. For more information, visit our website, acetransfercompany.com. Send us an email at acetransco@gmail.com. That's ACETRANSCO@gmail. Or give us a call at 800-525-3126.
Transfer Company for their support of the show, and make sure to check them out over there and tell them the 2 regular guys sent you over. Eric, just so you know, I'm going to flip the script here just a hair. I'm going to start off with what Terry's got going on here coming up. That way I can get to that. And then I know, Eric, you've got something out as well. So just before I totally threw you off your game there. But Terry's got his complete screen printing business courses coming up. The next one is Nashville with Atlas Screen Supply, October 20. So starting tomorrow, I guess he's heading directly there. Now, I believe that one is sold out. So you'll have to check that out. But then he's going to be in Phoenix at Workhorse Products, and that will be happening on November 2nd through the 3rd. And wrapping up the year in Chicago at Atlas Screen Supply on November 16th through the 17th. So you can check out all of his upcoming events over at his website, terrycombs.com. under the tab tour dates. And kudos to Terry. He's been doing a good job of keeping that up to date. Oh, hi. Fire alarm going off here. So see how long that lasts for. All right. Well, Eric, you want to pop up your digitizing pixel embroidery stuff, and then I'm going to get out of here so you guys don't hear the fire alarm going off in the background. Make sure that I am safe. So.
All right, folks, I'm going to jump in. I'm going to drop Aaron out. Let's go ahead and finish up the stuff that's going on since he had that unfortunate fire alarm incident. I'm going to jump in and just let you know a little bit about what's going on also with Aaron. So since he can't be here to tell you what he's doing, let's go ahead and talk about Small Business Saturday videos. We all love the stuff that Aaron's doing. So frankly, I want to make sure that we promote what he's doing this weekend. As you know, he is in Orlando, apparently during a fire alarm, but he is in Orlando with the family on a family vacation. So tomorrow he's going to check in tomorrow morning and talk all about recharging your batteries. So this will really be something that he can handle a little better without an alarm going on, I'm sure. But if you've seen any of his social media presence right now, he's been doing great work, kind of showing everybody what's going on and saying, hey, you know, absolutely get out there, enjoy your family, enjoy your time, but it's good for your business too. What's also coming up quite soon is his webinar. And the webinar is Becoming a Digital Marketing Superhero. And it's happening Monday, November 11th. And as we know, seats are limited. So if there's still a few seats left and you want to go ahead and sign up, you want to get out there to his website, which I'm going to throw in the comments right now. Here we go. AaronMontgomery.info/marketing.
Eric, the alarm did go off. So
good. We got you back.
Fire
buddy.
is put out. You put out the fire, as Brian said. Eric is always there to put out the fire. Yeah, you're right, Todd. The show was so hot today. I'm just on fire. So
hey, I can't let Todd down. Todd calls me Batman, so I have to swoop in, man.
Yeah.
try and get it done. But yeah,
the grappling hook was shot over my way, and I was taken to safety. Thank you very much, Eric. So,
but which you can't forget, because I'm going to jump in. Come on, people. The code regulator is going to save you $25 if you sign up for Aaron's marketing.
Yeah, there we go. So if you go over to AaronMontgomery.info/marketing, yes, we're save you $25. And that, Eric, just so you know, and everybody else knows here, that code's only good through the end of the month here. So
nice.
Got limited time, so get that done. Let's see here. Let me get a couple of other things, and then you get your link. Our friend Marshall, who's been in the comments today, has still got 6 steps to killing your production downtime happening. And we're going to have a link to that, but in the show notes. And if you click on that link, the introductory price is $497.50. In Long Beach, that'll be out there for $900, and so it's basically half off offer. So $997, I believe, is the full price of that. So take advantage of that introductory price there for 6 steps to kill your production downtime. And it's for all of you screen printers out there. And then also want you guys to check out Dane Clement is putting on an event through SJA called Art and Separations for Screen Printed Apparel. And that is happening December 2nd through the 3rd. And let's see, Eric, you got a new article out, and I know we've shared this before, but tell us a little bit about that article.
Honestly, this one is something, the reason I've been sharing this a lot is because people, when I first did my little samples, really wanted to see it. This is the one on pixel embroidery. So I've seen everybody doing these retro pixel styled art hats. Usually it's video game characters from the 8 and 16-bit era. I actually talk a little about how to digitize those in the latest issue of Printware. So if you go, you can get it digital. That's something people think like, oh, the magazines. Get the digital copies. You can go and read them anytime on their website. So check that out now. The latest Printware will have all the details about pixel embroidery. And that's one that I really love, really, because there's so much texture you can add without adding any extra process or truly any extra stitches.
Cool. All right. Well, Eric, I'll let you bail back out so we can kind of put the bow on this thing here real quick. And thank you so much, Eric, again, coming in, saving the day. As usual, apparently the folks here at the hotel didn't see my do not disturb sign on the door. So anyhow, we'll all right, cool. Well, come to the closing of the show. I'd like to, again, thank Eric very much Eric Campbell, and you can find him over at ericcampbell.com. That's ERICH, Campbell.com. And I also would like to thank our sponsors, Impressions Expo. Really excited to see their new brand this next year in 2020. So we'll be talking a lot about that. In fact, we'll most likely have Josh or some other folks from the Impressions Expo back on here soon to talk more about their 2020 plans. And I also want to thank Ace Transfer Company. Go over to acetransfercompany.com. And last but not least, I want to thank Kayla for her time and all that great information. She is somebody that you want to get to know. She can help you with your business. Her marketing brain is fantastic. I learn something every time I talk to her. So, definitely hook up with Kayla through Atlas Screen Supply and tell them the Two Regular Guys sent you over there. Next week, we're going to have a gentleman named Chad Smith. He's actually outside of our industry, but he is a certified financial planner, and we're going to be discussing retirement planning for small businesses. This is a show thanks to a request from one of the regulators, Marion, and so we found somebody that can speak to this topic that was requested by Marion, and so I want to keep those requests coming in. You guys just hit us up at the Contact Us page or Two Regular Guys, number Two Regular Guys on Facebook, wherever. Make sure that if you have something you want us to talk about, let us know, and we will find somebody to talk about that for you. So again, Chad Smith, who's a certified financial planner, will be checking in with us next week to talk about retirement planning for small businesses. So I'm looking forward to that show, and we'll have Terry back and give us a little recap of what happened there at the inaugural Printing United, which was formerly the SGIA show. All right. Well, Eric, thanks again, buddy. Appreciate it. Until then, for Terry Combs, for Eric Campbell, I am Aaron Montgomery, and we are the Two Regular Guys.
Thank you for listening to Two Regular Guys. Check out our website at tworegularguys.com. That's the number 2, regularguys.com. You can also interact with us over at our Facebook page, facebook.com/tworegularguys, or send us a tweet, twitter.com/tworegularguys. And we have a YouTube page. You can find all that from our website, tworegularguys.com. Thanks for tuning in, and we look forward to spending some time with you again next week.